everybody, welcome back to an unusual video, something I've never done before, and we're going to try here today. I don't know how long this is going to go. I had to really rework my setup. There's a whole thing with I subscribe to Waves plugins. If you know this inside of the industry or whatever, you know they've been going through some crazy stuff. They had to backpedal, and apparently it really screwed everything up in my system. I had to re-download everything and relicense it. I mean, it didn't have to repay, but I was already on the subscription anyway, so that took me forever. Also had to figure out how to run OBS, get the sound through here, and get it fairly clean. So do want to warn you, please don't hold the sound quality 100% accurate here, because basically I'm running my entire sound through my Apollo and my Luna system, which is where I recorded. And that's actually, I've got a virtual line outs going in, like as a submix, a Q mix, into a Scarlett 2 channel preamp, and I think I've got it relatively balanced where it's going to sound okay and not over crisp things. But basically, let's talk about 12 Things I Love About You off my new EP, the Mary EP Part 1, which came out on March 24th, 2023. I really appreciate those of you that have listened to it. Those of you who haven't, please give it a shot. I mean, just give it a shot. You're going to hear some of it here. Obviously, too, if you have not heard the original song, go find it. Go watch my lyric video on this channel. I'll link and all that stuff probably if I remember to do so. But, you know, listen to it on Spotify particularly, or you can find it on YouTube or anywhere you listen to music, or just go to ericbutts.com. But basically what we're going to do here is I'm going to take you through some stuff. And I want to play you the original, the first version of it, which I'm probably just going to have to cut away to and just put up an image, and you know, maybe a time clock or something. I don't know. Or I'll give you a chapter skip, I suppose, in case you don't want to hear the whole thing. But I want to play you the 2014 unfinished version, and I could not figure out how to do that in here. So we're just going to cut away to that. I'm going to play that. Then we're going to come back and we're going to take a look at some of my individual tracks, some of the individual effects I put on them. Just give you a little idea about what I went through and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, if you want to hear the story of the song, it's on the live stream when we did the album drop. I have no idea what this video is going to turn out like, but I thought we'd do this for each song on the EP, unless like everybody hates it and nobody cares. And I realize I don't have noise gates on and stuff, so like the fan noise in the room that I usually hide with other things in post is going to come through my microphone. So I'll try to mute you at times, or mute me at times. All right, so let's do that right now. Let's cut. So 2014, I did what were almost finished sounding songs on an album I was calling The Pessimistic Optimist. That's actually going to be the album we put out next year. I got plans there. And one of the songs on there was called 12 Things I Love About You. And that whole record, just real quick history, it was done shortly before I met Mary. And the whole idea of that record was the love songs on that. I was writing about the woman I wanted to meet. And wow, did that turn out right? Because I barely had to change much from the original song. Now, what you will notice in the original song is we just kind of start right into it. There's like maybe a little bit of a warm-up sound effect, and then it just goes right into a verse. We do a chorus, we do a verse, we do a chorus, and then I had originally not had this bridge, but I inserted a bridge in there that I really liked, but I never fully finished, and I thought it needed to double, because in the original you'll hear it only goes once, in the current song it goes twice, and then it builds into something totally different. In this original version you're going to hear, it does like the chorus 3 times, and the idea was I would go beyond 12 things and start counting higher into what I love, and that's where you hear me just start off the top of my head trying to come up with lyrics. It doesn't really work. I would have written more lyrics, as I inevitably did. And then on the new version, of course, I decided to put some dynamics into it and bring it down, and I like the new bridges I actually wrote modern for Mary and about the song, and then only had to really repeat the chorus once and then just do a big thing at the end. Really, really proud of all of that. But let's cut into it, and let's play you the original 12 Things I Love About You, which I'll probably put on Patreon for my Patreon people next week. So check it out.
To me, so many reasons I can see and things I know to be true. And I cannot believe that you actually love me. And these are the 12 things that I love about you. 1, 2, 3, I'm precious to me. You're so, so happy and you're also free. 4, 5, 6, they are a mix of spirit, passion, and your tricks. Well, 7, 8, 9, you are mine. So curious and you are so fine. 10 through 12, stay with myself. Ain't too much for anyone else. How lucky can I be to feel the same way about me? Yes, I know that you do. You make it so easy. You make it plain to see. And and you are so fine. 10 through 12, stay with myself, they mean too much for anyone else. And 13 through 18 is true, there's nothing that I would not do. 25 through 82, finally, I don't know what I'm supposed to mean. 2000 through 512, goes feeling backwards and it doesn't make sense. I can't make sense, I'm just singing so you can hear the message I bring. And 1, 2, 3, listen to me, don't happen, also free. 4, 5, 6, they are a mix of spirit, passion, and your tricks. And 7, 8, 9, I'm like you are mine, so damn beautiful and unless I'm fine. 10 through 12, stay with myself, they mean too much for anyone else. 12 things I love about you.
Okay, so there you have it. That was done in Cubase 6, I want to say, and it was with Apollos. It was kind of my early days of using the Apollos and everything. But now we've been working with Luna, and we have a bunch of Apollos and an Aero. I usually start using the Aero, the Universal Audio Aero for my demoing, you know, getting the guide tracks going. And then I'll start hooking into the Apollos in the real studio to get all the extra processing power. I know they're changing a lot of stuff to native right now, but I'm still using a lot of off-board DSP stuff. If you don't know what any of that means, it's fine. It's not that important. So basically, let's see, how do we want to go about this? So let's break down some of these stems. I went through, you know, let me go ahead and turn off my camera just for a second so you can kind of see my whole layout here. Where is it? Webcam, there we go. All right, so does my mouse show up? Ah, darn, not in this setup. Anyways, as you can see, this has a lot of tracks to it. Basically, I recorded the right rhythm guitar, the lead guitar, right and left guitar, although I consider them rhythm and lead. And we basically did copy and paste that. And just to offset it slightly, we'll get into the effects, but I did have a trick for that. So the meat of it is that there's a special delay there for one of the guitar tricks. I'll have to get back into that later and figure it out. We have a single track for bass. All this was DI'd and then just used amp sims and room creations. We'll get to that. Drums. Now I do have 2 spots of drums here, and of course, you know, in the yellow down here. And we did run through a bunch of takes. I'll tell you more about that in a second. I just want to run this down. And then we have some various synths and pads and pianos and strings and brass and things. Then we have this one called THX. It's the last yellow one down here. I wish I had this set up so you could see my mouse, but then we have our vocal reverb channel. We have our lead vocals, our vocal harmony 1, vocal harmony 2, and then we have a big verb that I used, and then a few more things. We got little chimes and some tubular bells. These were very late minute additions all the way to the left there, and then of course our main out. And you can see I'm running a reasonable amount of inserts and effects. It's mostly EQs and compressors on most things, but we do have a few other things. So for drums, we'll start there. I am currently working with like digital drums. I'm going to bring my face cam back up. I am currently working with digital drums because I'm in a space where I have real drums. I have the mics. I could do it. I may not do it as clean, but I don't have a good space anymore, like good with actual literal space to work in, much less good acoustics to capture acoustic drums. So for now, I'm doing a compromise. I am playing digital drums, but I'm doing an actual kit. It's not based on playing fingers on a keyboard like all my old demos. And I don't edit the hell out of it. I do leave a lot of the human side of it in there. So I will, you know, I will do chunks, like I'll do another take of like chorus and verse and kind of chunk that together. And then the only real trickery editing I'll ever do is sometimes in those punch-ins, it loses one beat from the other take, and the other take may be perfect, so I'll add that one beat back in. That's about it. I also have a thing where I have an issue with like my kick is always double-clicking, so I do have to go in and like delete alternate kicks that aren't supposed to be there. But other than that, I leave the drums pretty much like that. So you still get the human playing element, the natural, not quite perfectly tight rhythms. Like I'm not quantizing, I'm not playing with velocities. It's all what I actually played. Except, like I said, maybe 3 times a song, I'll tweak one little thing just because it's like everything else is perfect. I'm not gonna be able to play it better in the time I have. So we'll do that. So that's my compromise with drums. And I have been using, oh man, what's it called? Soft Keys? Is it Soft Keys? Easy Drummer. And I do tweak out the drum stuff a little bit, some of the mixes in the kits. But let's just give you a little bit. Let me jump forward so you can actually hear some of the actual drum work. And let's actually solo out these drums with all the effects on. Now I will run through here. So I have so we are on channel 7. which is the first of like the yellow, if you look at that strip next to my head on the bottom. And we have an LA2 compressor in there. We have a massive passive EQ in there for some clarity. I got a Cambridge EQ in here just to tweak out a couple of things. Like, let's see what the Cambridge EQ we're actually... Oh, you know what? I gotta fix. Okay, we got to change this out. That's just not gonna work for what we're doing. This should just take a second. Window capture. Let's not make that a window capture. Let's make that... Well, let's just add... Oh, here, display capture. We can make that work if I pick the correct display. Okay, yeah, there we go. We'll grab that. We'll bring that down. And we've just about got this. So I'm going to turn that background off. We're going to turn that background on. Now you should be able to see... Yeah, you can see my mouse and everything. All right, there we go. So we're over here in 7. So I have my LA2... Whoops. My LA2 with drum overhead destruction. I do use a lot of presets. I just, you know... I can be an engineer. I don't claim to be a great engineer. I've really pushed myself to be better here. And this is for a lot of people that are just into it. We got the clarity bus on there. And I know a lot of people will break their drum tracks out, their digital tracks. I should do that. I might in the future. I'm not doing it here. My Cambridge, as you can see, we have like a 120 hertz roll off on here because I just didn't want too much down there. I wanted to leave room for some of the subharmonics, which we'll get to in a second. And then we have just a little tiny cut up here, about 10K. Looks like we're taking that down a few decibels just because I wanted to get a little bit of the sizzle out of the cymbals. And then one of the tricks I've thrown on here is for the kick drum. Since I didn't record the sub kick or anything, we have thrown on the Little Labs, what is it? The vocal analog bass resonance tool, the voice of God, the VOG. So this really beefs up the kick drum. So I'm actually going to bring that in, and we also want to do this. So let me hit play so you can kind of hear some just straight up drums. We are soloed. Right. I'm going to just turn off all the effects. So you can see it's bringing it up. It's making things more interesting. Now here's just the voice of God off. Listen to the bass with it on. Off. On. It's harder to tell in headphones and stuff, but like when you play it in a car and stuff, you really feel the kick drum punching a whole lot more. So, you know, I'm pretty happy with that. I have it broken into 2. I have it broken into 2 because that bridge where I get into like the tom playing, I really wanted to beef that up even further, and it's just easier to separate that as its own track and give it its own mixing, which I've also, oh wait, I missed this too. I have a transient designer thrown on with the snare tamer over the drum too, because again the snare was a little bit clicky. But when we go over to the beefy toms in the bridge, we're on a drum room compression, we're on a drum percussion EQ on the Manly, and I think I changed some stuff in there, or maybe I did it here. Yeah, we beefed up some of the lower end. Again, we did do a low cut hertz filter down here, and we beefed up a little around 58 hertz and then around 205 hertz, just to really kind of bring out some of that tom resonance and boom, boom, boom. Let's take a quick look at the bass. We'll solo that out. Playing a Fender, the classic, the P bass. So there's our direct DI signal. Turn on the compressor, the pre-compressor, because then I run it through the soft tube bass amp 8x10 cabinet. Then we hit the massive passive on there, little Cambridge to tweak it, and then we compress it one more time with another LA2. And of course that goes nice with the kicks. But let's look at what I'm working on there. So we got the bass amp leveler, just to start us off. Here is my soft tube setup. So it's a clean mix, but it's got a little bit of distortion going on. I think some of that's coming in from we use bus clarity on the massive passive EQ. Just did a 125 hertz fall off cut filter down here in the bottom, kind of leaving room for some subharmonics on some other stuff. And then we recompress with a bass amp leveler again. And I think that gives me a pretty nice bass tone. Oh, here's the tom part. And I run that. I thought I ran that through my big verb, am I not? Let's see if I can. So you can hear, you know, the toms with the effects off there. Very different. So let's unmute that.
So many reasons that I love you. And
Check out some of the synths. What? Why is oh, that piano is muted down right now. There we go. Guess I could have just grabbed all of these. And not a lot going on. Pads and piano have a little bit of Cambridge EQ going just to cut some notes. Probably just low cut filters. Should have got some more wine. Hells yeah. And of course, we will, like I said, we will talk more about that THX thing on its own thing. So, you know, I just like to always just kind of use that as sort of seasoning as we go on later in the songs, you know. And I will cheat a little bit more with the MIDI editing of some of that stuff. There are times with some of the keyboard stuff, because I'm an okay piano player, I'm not great, but there are some times I want to do things so complicated that I will literally just go in and kind of play the rhythm, and it's just completely wrong notes, and then I'll go edit the notes to be correct. That is not always the case. A lot of times I do play it well, especially when it's more like single note kind of soloing stuff. Then maybe I'll change a note or two or something. So that's kind of the synths there. Let's take a look at the guitars. And this, oops. This doesn't have a guitar solo, so we don't need to talk about that. But let's check out just the right and left guitars.
To me, so many reasons I can't.
So a pretty clean tone, but it's nice and spaced out. Again, because I don't know if you're in headphones or even if this is translating well in stereo, I don't know. So I'm gonna just turn on like one guitar. So it should be a little bit stronger in one ear. I don't think it is.
7, 8, 9, you make me feel
So like,
mine.
there's the lead version of it, right? And we're running the soft tube Dirty Humbuckler with a 57, it looks like. Soft amp simulation. We got a Cambridge on there. It's mostly just a low cut filter. I'm cutting everything under about 80 hertz. And then I threw a Pultec guitar warmer on there. But here's where I think it gets interesting. Is I use that copy track, and these are panned hard left and right. So it sounds like, you know, you're kind of in a room a little bit. So it's the same amp, I believe. Yep, Dirty Humbuckler, same setup there. But now, before we go into the rest of it, I'm in Ocean Ways Studio with a re-mic. So if you don't know what this does, is this basically samples this incredible acoustic studio, and it's like running it through an amp in a real space and re-micing it. Now, so I've got some distance, which is creating some delay, so it's not like causing phase issues, and it sounds a little bit more like, because I used to, when I did my real amps, I would have like a 57 right up in the speaker cone against the cabinet, and I'd like to have a compressor maybe 3, 4, 5 feet away, so it has a little bit of delay, but it catches a little more room tones, a little more natural reverb. I'm basically recreating that with an Ocean Waves plugin. You know, so that really opened up my guitars in here. And now we have that same low cut filter there and the same guitar warmer over there. Let's check the other ear. I don't remember which guitars I used here. I believe it was an American Special Strat and my Fender Powercaster, I believe, are the two guitars I used for this. Same amp on both, it appears. Same EQ. I did use a distorted guitar focus for the more left guitar. And of course, I'm using different different pickups and different pickup selectors on the guitars to also, you know, make the tone slightly different. And of course, you can hear that I'm kind of doing a harmony play here. So, you know, I'm playing 2 octaves on some of those notes. Now, I gotta be honest, I am unsure where there's guitar delay and why. Let me, I'm guessing I did something in the breakdown. Where is that guitar delay channel? Here it is. Let's see if I have any automation going on in there. Huh. No, I think I set up a guitar delay to play with, and then I never used it, and I never deleted the track. Yeah, there doesn't seem to be anything going on in there. Whoops, I hit the wrong button. Yeah, because there is a time cube delay, but is there anything, do I have any sends going on? No, I'm not sending. Well, no, nothing would be sending to it. Yeah, no, these are sending to the guitar delay. Oh, there's no volume in those delay. Well, I must have just turned it off and never deleted that. So that's kind of the guitar setup there. What else can we look at before we get into the well, I guess we can look at vocals. Also, I want to see where I use the big verb. It's been so long since I did this mix that I don't remember certain things. So where did I use the big verb? Yeah, it looks like there's some automation. So right around here, let me find out what's sending to that. Is it drums? It looks like I had the drums sent to it, but I must have, again, late in the mix, cut that out and not used it because I see the sends are turned off over there. Let's see if anything's come through right here. Oh, here's the guitar delay. It is in use. I just automated the sends. So this is just in that breakdown. Because again, if you... But hold on, let me go back, right? So we're gonna start that over. So listen, you kind of hear that. Let's mute that delay. Kind of boring. But then we'll turn it on. Of course, I'm also doing a little something. So, that was another one of those late edition touches that really helped bring some life to that section. And so we got two last things really to look at. Well, three last things because we want to go through the mastering section because I did end up mastering in the program. But while we're here, let's look at the vocals. So we have 3 vocal tracks and Vox Verb. Now, in general, my lead vocals, we have Satisfying preset on the LA2. We have a Manly Massive that's just set to default. Now, that's interesting. I feel like maybe I tweaked something in there, but I will not be able to remember what. I am running a limiter. So this was before I had a better limiter, but it was already set and I liked it. So this is I forget what this is, the brand. Precision. Yeah, Precision. Universal Audio Precision limiter. Set to standard A. I probably set the leveling a little bit too. Then we have the Rockin' Sock from the UA 1176 limiting amplifier. Again, just really kind of bringing my vocals in and smoothing them out a little bit. And then last but not least, we throw a Cambridge on here. Now, I don't have any low cut on this because I always record with a low cut on the input, so there shouldn't be anything under 40 hertz in there. This has a little bit of a dip, about a 3 decibel dip at 96. Looks like it has a little bit of a 2.5 decibel bump at 390. A solid 11 decibel dip at like almost 2K, 1.94. About a 2.5 lift at 3.88K. And I don't think I really touched on the highest band. So, you know, I mean, again, just kind of getting in there and tweaking it. And I think these other things are fairly simple, while slightly different. It does look like my secondary harmony does have the Culture Vulture on there to give it a little bit of harmonic saturation and distortion. And yeah, on leads and main harmonies, I am running, which one? The Stutter 800, A800. So it gives a little vintage analog tape sound, and I don't know what preset. All right, we got the Hard Rock preset for 30 IPS, GP9 plus 9 exterior. Some of that, I'm a little unfamiliar with some of that, what some of that means. It was just using my ears and what sounds good. So we're going to kind of check out during the verse,
And I am so damn happy that I waited for you. The perfect one.
There was your big verb. That was the use of that.
Found her way through. to me. So many reasons that fill my mind, but I'm only telling the world 9 this time. So many reasons that I love you and almost everything that you do.
Let's turn them all off.
You are everything that I adore, and somehow you are still even more. You truly mean the world to me, inspire me to be all that I can be. I said 1, 2, 3, you're precious to me. You're always so happy and you are so free. 4, 5, 6, they are a mix of your spirits, passions, and your tricks. Well, 7, 8, 9.
Feel like you mind. Hope you're in and you're so fine.
10 through 12, stay with myself. They mean too much for anyone else. I said 12 things I love about you. These are 12 things I love about you.
And I'm running a Sterling condenser mic.
I love about you.
Nothing fancy.
12
Now,
things I love about you.
I can't.
12 things I love about you.
And of course, let's take a quick look at that on the timeline. So obviously, I don't cut out every single space in there, but I do cut out a lot of the space, just take a lot of that dead air out of there and everything. And I wonder, can I figure out what we use? Is this gonna screw me up? Yep. Okay. Okay, sorry about that. I had a feeling I might screw something up if I did that, and I was right. And boy, I basically had to close everything down, turn it back on, and then everything was giving me guff. So let's look at the last 2 things. I want to show you about this THX thing, and I want to show you my mastering chain for this. So let's see, how do I go? What's going to be the best way? Okay. So for this synthesizer, I went and bought the massive synthesizer from Native Instruments. And basically we do oscillator 1, and we just turn that on. Oscillator 2, we turn it on, and we took the pitch down to negative 11.96. Oscillator 3, we turned down, took the pitch up to 12.11. Slightly off perfect octave below, slightly off perfect octave above. Noise, I don't know if I changed it, but the color is all the way up. And see, filter, we turned on up here, cut off all the way up. I think we turned that on. And filter 2, looks like this came down a little bit. Amp is hand in the middle. Effects 1 is all the way there. So it's really down here. We turned on all these, I believe. There's a video out there about doing the THX sound with this, so they're going to explain it to you better because I just followed that video to do it, and then it turned every key on my keyboard excuse me, into the THX sound. So then the trick was just getting the timing right, finding the key, and then I did a little auto mix on the volume to make it come up right. But here it is in the beginning of the song. And of course, then the song starts. And we put that at the end as well because I really wanted this to start with like an orchestra tuning and the THX thing, like a movie, like Cinema was starting. And couldn't quite get the orchestra tuning thing, but I do like all the other stuff I did. As a matter of fact, we'll play that back through just with all that other stuff. Yeah, so here you go. Actually, that sounds pretty cool on its own. Probably should have, if I had actually made some more advertisements for this, I should have used that. So basically that's how I got that, and I'm very, very proud of that, and now I can do that anytime I want. So that's very cool. Now, the only other thing we're going to talk about is my final mix and mastering chain, where we are using the ART, or the ATR 102, and we have that set to, what? Is it going to tell me? Here we go. To the classic 250 Smooth Master. So again, bringing more of the analog warmth, more of that analog tape, and it helps with clipping and anything like that a little bit. Then I run the, wow, that's set to default. That should be at punch and clarity. That is weird. That concerns me. Is that how I mixed it out, or did that accidentally change? It's the Precision Universal Audio multi-band compressor. I could have sworn I would have that at punch and clarity. Maybe I left it at default. And then we run a Cambridge EQ with just a few little tweaks here. At 90 hertz, we boosted at about 2.8 decibels. At 182 hertz, we boosted 1.9 decibels. At 831 hertz, we took it down 2.5 decibels. And at 2.74K, we took it up 2.1 decibels. And it looks like I did a big push in the high end because I was lacking some high end. At 12.4K, we pushed it 5.9 decibels. Dang, that's quite a bit. Now, one of the only Waves plugins I'm using in here, I just wanted to get a little more left and right. This came in near the end when I started kind of mastering down. So we have the Master Brighten Bassy, and it's just putting a little more spread in there. It's the P22 spreader, I believe. Yeah, so that's kind of cool. I have the mix room in here, but I did not use it for this. I definitely did use mixing with the mastering the mix. They make some incredible stuff that really helped my mastering on this. And I used their bass room to really kind of get my bass to sound equal amongst various listening devices as best I could. And, you know, obviously I didn't nail it exactly where they suggest it, or at least not with that, what it's showing me right now. But that's really fun. They have a really great limiter. I love their limiter. It'll basically, you can play something in here and it'll basically tell you where to put it. And it nails it pretty right. And of course I have it set for Spotify, so we're going for that -1 decibel mastering out. And then I was using this a lot to watch stuff. Also for mastering the mix, we have levels. So this, let's just play through this. It'll show you some stuff as we go. Wait for the song to actually get going. And you can see it's set to true peak. And already we hit -1, but it's fine if it bumps up against it. And you can always reset. And you can check your stereo field, put it in mono, check your left, right. I love this. The stuff in the middle, or just listening to the stuff out to the sides. Like, that's incredible. You can check your lux for your loudness. I don't get great readings on this, but it tells me my dynamics. You have your dynamic range. You can also break that down. I can't really do bass space without spreading out my stuff. And that's basically it. And I did do a little bit of automated on the master bus because, again, I need to learn to record with more dynamics going in some of my songs and some of my songwriting. But I did basically take all the verses down a decibel and put the choruses back to 0. So you get a little bit of volume change in there. Very subtle, pretty quick shifts. And I guess that's the breakdown of my song. I don't know if this is interesting. I don't know if I'll actually do this for everything. I kind of enjoyed doing it. But also, you know, I got to find a better way to do it. And, but hey, at least you kind of got a nice little look inside of, you know, how I work, how I'm currently working. And obviously I'm going to be improving. I've got more plugins and learning more about them. Not that it's all about that. It all starts with a great quality tone from your instruments going in. You got to be at least pretty decent at playing, even if you're not great. And, you know, watch your room. And if you're pretty good with all that, and you know, even with my vocals, I don't have a booth or anything, but I got one of those things you set up behind the mic so it keeps it won't let stuff reflect off the wall behind you and come back into the mic. So, you know, things like that, and a pop filter, you know, that's pretty much how we get there. And then it's just a lot of playing and mixing. I think I did about 57 mixes on this before I really nailed it in, because there's so many times when you get near the end where it's like, well, what if that's up 0.5 decibel? That's down 0.2, that needs to go back up 1, pan that a little further out, or bring that back in. And even playing with some of the mastering, like I was using reference tracks, because I also have Mastering the Mix reference plugin, which is fantastic, because you can kind of judge your stuff against other songs that are similarly done like you're looking to do. You can see their EQ curves and all that kind of stuff. And honestly, when I tried to match some Green Day stuff with some EQ, I didn't really like what it did. I like that I have a lot more punch and clarity in my stuff than you hear in a lot of rock and roll. But I don't know if other people like that or not, but I'm doing this for me more than anybody, so that's where I come from with that. But there you go. I hope that was cool. I hope you dug that, and hope you go check out the new album. I'm really proud of it, and I should be starting on some other stuff soon. I mean, I've started on part 2 and part 3 a little bit, but I need to get back in there like full time making it happen. But let me know what you think about this. If you got any suggestions, hey, if you're an engineer or whatever, by all means, you know, I'm willing to learn. I don't think I'm a genius or anything. I was never super passionate about this. It's more just a necessity of, I'm a guy that likes to do all the stuff myself, so I've had to learn enough to be able to do it fairly well. You know, I started out with a 4-track cassette tape thing. Actually, I started out with boombox to boombox. Kids, if you're too old for that, you would have like a boombox, a radio that you could put tapes in. And I would record off a mic on the boombox, and I would play the first thing. And then I would play that back and play another instrument and record it into another boombox. Then I went to a 4-track cassette. Then after a little bit of that and proving myself with that, we upgraded to a 1/2-inch tape, 16-track reel-to-reel, and a mixer and patch bays and all that. And then after that, we went to what's a self-contained digital audio workstation. You didn't need a computer, but it was like a 24-track digital, the Roland VS2480. I still have that. I'm still pulling things off of it. And then, of course, I went to the Apollo setup. We actually went through the Behringer X32 briefly, but I wasn't loving it. So that's when we started transitioning over to the Apollos, which I fucking adore. They're expensive as hell, but my God, they're incredible. If you can afford it, it's worth it. And I was doing Cubase with that for the longest time. But then they brought out Luna, which is, I think, fantastic software, and I'm very comfortable in Luna, and that's where I'm at now. But hey, I'm always down for hearing tips, tricks, or whatever. Or you got great channels to go listen to or watch or whatever. That's awesome, too. Just love to hear what you have to say. Other than that, though, you can go to ericbutts.com or, theericbutts.com. It'll all get you there. Look me up on Spotify particularly. I could really use your love there. And check out the links down there for more support in this channel and stuff. So see more butts, all that, blah, 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 blah. Also, I got a merch store if you want to buy some of my other CDs and artwork and stuff like that, shirts, whatever. Okay, I'm going to get out of here and figure out how to put this video together. I'll see y'all later, all right? Thanks. Bye.
You mean so much to me. So many reasons I can't see, and things I know to be true. And I cannot believe that you actually love me. And these are the 12 things that I love about you. 1, 2, 3 are precious to me. You're always so happy and you are so free. 4, 5, 6, they are a mix of your spirits, passions, and your tricks. Well, 7, 8, 9, you make me feel like you're mine. You're so curious and you are so fine. But 10 through 12 stay with myself. They mean too much for anyone else. How lucky can I be? You feel the same way about me. Yes, I know that you do. You make it so easy. You make it plain to see. And that's why I can't help shouting 12 things I love about you. 1, 2, 3 are precious to me. You're always so happy and you are so free. 4, 5, 6, they are a mix of your spirits, passions, and your tricks. Well, 7, 8, 9, you make me feel like you're mine. You're so curious and you are so fine. But 10 through 12 stay with myself. They mean too much for anyone else. And I am so damn happy that I waited for you. The perfect one for me finally found her way through. So many reasons that fill my mind, but I'm only telling the world 9 this time. So many reasons that I love you and almost everything that you do. You are everything that I adore, and somehow you are still even more. You truly mean the world to me. Inspire me to be all that I can be. I said 1, 2, 3, you're precious to me. You're always so happy and you are so free. 4, 5, 6, they are a mix of your spirits, passions, and your tricks. Well, 7, 8, 9, you make me feel like you're mine. You're so curious and you are so fine. But 10 through 12 stay with myself. They mean too much for any